Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And tonight I'm here with a sketch challenge for you. So I'm just going to give it a minute or so to see, one, that I can see that I'm live on my Facebook group, and I can. That's great. And I'm just going to wait and see if anybody's going to join me tonight because I have a great sketch for you. So hopefully there'll be few people jumping on. So if you do find me through YouTube, I welcome. If it's the first time you're joining me on YouTube, definitely welcome. I'm glad you found me. And if it's not the first time, welcome back. In either case, I hope you'll take the time to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you'll get notified when I go live. Which I do on a regular basis. And also when I post my videos, tutorials, which I also do on a regular basis. So you'd actually, if you subscribe, you actually get notified. So great, I can see a couple of people are watching. If you are watching, just leave a comment. Hey, Nancy, oh, great. Leave a comment, let me know where you're watching from. And yeah, we'll get started with a sketch. Just gonna switch over to the desktop. All right, I really like this sketch. So it looks kind of simple, but I think we can make it really, really fancy it up with the stamp sets and the embellishments that we use. So a card base that is 5.5 by 8.5 folded in half. And then layer number 1, which is the blue on my image, is 4 inches by 5.25. Layer number 2 is the yellow, which is 2 inches by 5.25. Layer number 3 is the green, which is about 1/2 inch by 5.25. And then I've got a circle here, and I'm going to cheat a little bit, but a circle is about 2.5 inches. So whatever you decide to use, if you're going to stamp and then use a die cut, roughly 2.5 inches. Hey, Janet. Yay, I'm glad you made it when I'm live. And then you need a sentiment piece. And depending on the size of your sentiment, it can be bigger or smaller. So mine's actually going to be a little bit wider than this. I said 1/2 inch by 2 inches. So if you've got a pretty small sentiment, that should work. Mine's going to be bigger than that because my sentiment is wider. So I have underneath the video when it goes live, but also underneath the video on Facebook, you'll see the link that you can go out and download this. It's a Google Doc, so you can actually go out and download the sketch so you can play along. All right, let me show you what I'm going to use. Put my sketch off to the side. Hey, Sandy. So I didn't just get this, but really I just started to use it. I took a training course on Saturday, and this was the bundle that we got as part of the training course. So it's the Pretty Pumpkins bundle, and it's got great scent of stamps. I really love this one with it's hard to see, with the leaves on it, the pumpkin with the leaves. And then this great set of dies. So there is a die to cut out the stamped images, as well as some solid leaves, this great detailed pumpkin, and then also a pumpkin, another detailed pumpkin, and a pumpkin to cut this one out. So I'm going to use a combination of these, which is why I'm kind of cheating on my card tonight for the 2.5 inch circle. All right, so let me bring in the paper. Oh, Nancy, you just ordered it. Yeah, it's fun. I wasn't, I'm not so much a fall pumpkin person, but when I saw this, this stamp, I absolutely love. So, all right, I've got a piece of early espresso that is 5.5 by 8.5. And I'm gonna just fold it in half. And hopefully I can find my bone folder. There we go. What a good crease. All right. So that's my card base. Now I've got a piece of very vanilla cardstock that is 4 inches by 5.25. And then now I've cut this. This is going to be my piece of my sentiment. I've cut it. I've got it at an inch by, and it's much longer than I need, but I definitely need it for the sentiment to be an inch wide. So you can cut yours smaller if your sentiment is. smaller. Now I've got a piece of the cork specialty paper, which just seems perfect for this fall themed card. So that's my layer number 2. And then for my layer number 3, which is 1/2 inch by 5 1/4, I'm going to use this. This is the glittered organdy ribbon. So you can always use a piece of ribbon instead of a piece of cardstock. And I'm going to color this using my dark Cajun Craze. So this ribbon colors really well. I have also colored the black of the black organdy ribbon. It doesn't, of course, you can't change the color black, but you can color the sequence and it works really well. All right, so I'm going to just start doing, yes, it was Janet. Yes, I saw you on there. It was a great day. All right, so I'm going to take this piece of cork and I'm going to adhere it so it's about, just 1/4 inch or so up from the bottom. And we'll just put it on like that. And then I'm not going to adhere this quite yet because I want to color some ribbon. So I need, just kind of roughly measuring, I'm just going to take and cut this. I'm going to just wrap it around the card base. So my card piece, my cardstock piece is about 5 1/4. So just take your blend and you want it kind of flat and just take and color your ribbon. And any white ribbon will color very well with the blends. And well, I guess it could be any color. Somebody told me they had colored the cherry cobbler and gold ribbon with the evening evergreen, and it looked really pretty. So I'm just taking that and coloring it. Now you will get some ink on your fingers, so that's why I'm kind of doing this at the start. And always put a piece of scrap or your grid paper underneath it because it will, you will go through. Okay, I'm just going to let that dry for a minute. Now I've got a piece where I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I know what I'm going to do with this. So this is where I'm cheating a little bit with a circle. So I've got this great die and it is very detailed. So the one thing you will want to use with this are the adhesive sheets. So I'm just going to take, I've got a piece here, which should be plenty. So I'm just going to cut a piece. And now, of course, I may not get, I have to take your pick tool just to lift up the corner. Hopefully I can do this. There we go. Leave the adhesive down and I just peel off a piece of it and then lay it on your cardstock. If you're using designer series paper, you want to lay it on the right side or on the wrong side so that you get the side that you want showing. So I'm going to just put a piece of Post-it note tape over this to hold it in place so that it gets over the other piece. Now, the other thing that I want to do is stamp, and I'm going to use this great pumpkin stamp with the leaves on it. And I'm going to stamp that in early espresso. Like that. Isn't that great? I just love that. It's so pretty. And we will cut that out. Now at the same time, let me get my sentiment out. Like that. Okay. Now, the other thing I'm going to cut out, I actually am not sure I'm going to use this yet. but I may use, I think if this needs some color, I may use this die with the pumpkin out. So I'm going to cut it out in advance, just because that way I've got it. And if I decide to use it on this card, then that's perfect. And if I don't, then I will put it in. I have a little bin of things I've cut out and not used. And I just kind of keep it by my desk, and eventually I'll go to make a card, and then I've got it already cut. All right, I'm just going to use some Post-it note tape. So I'm just going to take these off and put them on my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which is off to the side. And cut these first. So when you're running the piece through, the really detailed piece, especially when you've got the adhesive sheet behind it, I tend to run them through a few times because it can take a little bit to cut through the adhesive sheet. So because you've got 2 layers, well, 3 layers, because you've got the backing. So I just like to run it through a few times to make sure that it cuts everything through. There's nothing worse than having to try and poke through, and this has done a pretty good job of it. So I just will lift it up before I pull the die off, so that I can actually run it through again if it hasn't cut. Take my Post-it note tape off. If you haven't discovered Post-it note tape, it's wonderful. I got it on Amazon, and definitely works really well. You can use Post-it notes as well, but the Post-it note tape just holds it in place much better. All right, and then this piece. Okay, so let's see. And the last thing I need to do, actually, I'm going to leave that. I need to do my sentiment, but I'm not sure what color, whether I'm going to do my sentiment in Cajun Craze or whether I'm going to do it in Early Espresso. But for now, let's just poke out this. So you can't probably see how detailed. Now, the cool thing about this is if you just take your pick tool and get underneath the backing, I can do it. There we go. Sometimes, of course, it's not going to work. Well, some of them are going to work. Sometimes it will actually pull all of the little pieces out when you pull your backing off, which is great. That's pulling some of them out. So that's not too bad. Kind of just do it gently because it is very detailed. And that's not bad. Okay, let me just get my silicone mat so that it doesn't adhere to my desktop. All the little pieces out. There we go. These silicone mats are amazing. All right. So this is so this is where I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. So I think I will put that piece there and see how easy that is to adhere when you've got the adhesive sheet behind it. Okay. I think, oh gosh, now I don't know. Who's got an idea? Let's see what this is going to look like. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is put my ribbon on. Ah, okay, I can still do that. Phew, that didn't stick. I didn't press that down very hard. So let's put my ribbon on. Okay, so now you see how pretty that ribbon is when it's colored. So I'm just going to put it kind of butted right up against against the cork. So I'll just put some Stamp and Seal there to hold it in place, and then just line it up. If the ribbon is a little not as see-through as this, you can overlap it, but because this is very see-through, butting it up, I just like the look of it, so I'm not seeing my cork through. So this can now go on like that. All right, now let's try this again. So now we can press it down on there like that. Now, I really want to use that one, so I think I will use that one. So I'm going to use dimensionals. My order came today. I now have dimensionals. I was telling Sandy last night that I was almost out of dimensionals. It was very scary. Oh, hello, Susan from New York. Welcome. Glad you could join. All right. Yeah, I think I really love this stamped pumpkin. All right, so we will put that like that. And I will save my bumblebee pumpkin for another card. Now, so I think I'm going to cheat a little bit. So because I've got this is a little bigger, and I did definitely cheat on the size of my, the circle. It's kind of like a circle. This isn't going to fit because I have a really big sentiment. So I think I'm going to stamp my sentiment at the top. Sketches are guidelines, so you can use the sketch and adjust it to what you need. So, but I am going to test this stamp and just make sure I know how it's going to stamp before I stamp it on my card. Oh, pretty straight actually. Sometimes I don't get the labels on very well, so yeah, pretty good. All right, now I didn't bring any embellishments out, so I think what I'm going to do is color some more ribbon. Let's close my ink pad up. So I'm going to color some more ribbon here, and I'm going to try and tie a bow, and I will put the bow on one of the pumpkins because I think it just needs a little bit more. I just love coloring ribbon because you can make your ribbon match. I wonder if that's enough. I don't think that's enough. I'm not feeling very brave tonight when it comes to actually tying a bow. I think I need a little bit more. Sometimes I can do it with just a little bit, but sometimes I need a little bit more. All right. So let's try and tie. I want a fairly small bow. So we'll see how this works. Oops, not like that. There we go. This is it's a little bit harder because of the glitter. Oopsie. It's a little harder to be fussy with and get it really tiny because it wants to hold in spots. The glitter kind of grabs and it doesn't. So I'd like it smaller, but it's probably not going to actually be smaller. Yeah. Okay, well, it's going to have to be what it is. Okay. All right, so let's just take this and trim. And this is why I wanted it smaller, because I really want it to go on the stamped pumpkin. But I think we'll have to just try to do this. Can I do it? Can I? Every time I do this, it still ends up being the same size, so I don't know why I keep fussing with it. Okay, it is what it is. All right, we'll take a glue dot. Put it on that pumpkin there. And just trim the ends. There. Oops. Clean up my mess. I always have a mess going by the time I'm finished. All right, so that's my card. Looks sort of like the sketch. I just cheated a little bit with the well, I cheated a little bit with the sentiment because there was no room down here. It would just cover the entire cork up, and I don't want to do that. So up here was perfect spot for it. And then my circle, it's not a circle. So feel free to change up your sketches and change up the sketch and make it work for you. That's kind of what the fun of this is. So yeah, thanks. I love the cork. Absolutely love the cork. I think I've gone through, I'm on my second package because I love anything that's got that kind of texture and is natural elements. So yeah, glad you like it. Okay, so have fun with the sketch. As I said, I will post the picture on my Facebook group, but if you're coming in through YouTube, I did put the link to so that you could download it through Google Doc and get the sketch. It's a little harder to actually post the sketch on a YouTube video. So I will put the picture, but the sketch will be there as well, or that you can download the sketch. So I'll be back on Thursday night with a card. I already have it planned out. I'm excited that I'm going to be using the beautifully penned designer series paper, which is available during Celebration. So I've got an idea for a card for that. So I hope you'll join me at 6:30 Pacific for that. And then I'll be back on Saturday afternoon. Actually, I may not be back on Saturday afternoon because we have a stamp camp going on, Whimsy and Wonder Stamp Camp. So I'll have to see when I'm doing a live. It might be okay, but so if I am going to do it, I will post, and it will be at 2 o'clock on my Facebook group on Saturday afternoon. So, all right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Have a good night. Happy stamping.